Well, the NHL, they don't have any revenue, so they don't have anything to share.
Nor do they want it.
But do you see what I mean?
No, it's a great point. You're on fire tonight.
You know, the reason why everybody can spend up to the cap in the NFL, because there's equal revenue sharing.
Yeah.
Okay, so the big, stronger franchises help to support the smaller franchises and enables them to be competitive. Like, look at the Jacksonville Jaguars this year.
Good points.
But you know, so what do you think? How it makes sense that there's a salary floor? I don't know. Maybe
I gave the correct answer.
I didn't go to Gateway. Maybe somebody can explain this to me in terms that I can understand, but I don't understand it.
Ask a guy that was never mind. He was
you know, an interesting thing was somebody was this Pittsburgh Pirate fans page had thrown out the gold net bat.
Yeah.
And or no, they threw out the salary floor. So I posed a question on there because I don't really respond to these kind of things. Right. Like, is there any other professional sports league that has a salary floor? And you want to know who the person that liked my comment was? Paul Skeens.
Really? Wow.
That's awesome.
The real Paul Skeens?
I don't know.
Wow.
I mean, you know, it came up as I mean, I don't know.
Wow,
You're holding on a big fish.
I pulled it up. I hooked a big fish. But to be honest with you, it's ridiculous.
No, way to go, and that's how ridiculous it is.
You know, I mean,
to most of us here, 2 out of 3, it's ridiculous.
When you got teams that can afford to pay over $700 million for players, and there's some franchises that aren't even worth $700 million, you got to do something to fix the system that's broken.
Yeah, no, you're right on that. All right, thanks, Chip. Let me get back. Pete Kasich's watching. Ralph Williams said, hello, guys. Ann Harder said this, Smoking Jim. We got a couple Smoking Jim comments. Jim looks white to me.
And you want to know something? That was long before he ever played quarterback.
Thank you, Ann. Nick Rohde said, congratulations, Smoking Jim. You were spot on about Jordan Addison. Nick, that's just what he needed to build up that huge basketball ego. Now he's like, he looks like the Goodyear blimp over there. We'll need a close-up on his head. No, thank you. Ty Polka's watching. Ralph Williams, winter meetings, Pirates sign 2 1-15 pitchers at $2 million, 1-year contract. Thanks, Ralph. Appreciate that.
Every PIAA game that Ty Polk called, the WPIL lost this year, so
we'll have to get Ty Polk back on next year. 2025, Ty will hold a seat for you. We may go to 5 co-hosts, so check it out. We may have 5 of us on the show. We'll do that, and let's see, Michael. I heard we're on YouTube. I got a notification. Pittsburgh Sportsline's on YouTube. Thanks, Michael, for trying 32 times to get on there. We appreciate it. And to all our viewers on YouTube, we salute you. Thanks for joining us. All right, what's on my mind? I got a couple things. I'll be like Smoking Jim. I'll watch my time. Real simple. Why is anybody complaining about coaching, players, or anything else when we're in first place? Imagine if we're in Dallas. Never mind on that. We'll just stop at that. And then anybody that believes George Pickens was injured for the last game and now he has a hamstring tear and he could be out another week or even play this week, let me explain what's happening. The coaches aren't allowed to tell the truth in hockey, baseball, football, etc. George Pickens had a long leash on him, and guess what? They cut the leash on him, and he can't come back until he does something to the other players and coach, maybe like apologize and say he won't do it. And a red flag that I talked to Smoking Jim about, number 77, who's not really playing that well because he never was a good blocker, but we made him a first-round pick for a left tackle, and you still got Open Door Moore doing it, and he's not an all-pro level. I watched him again. He's not an all-pro. We'll talk about that. He was his counselor. Did you see him talking to Pickens as he's freaking out? And what did it do? He did it again and again. So if you don't know Coach T's a player's coach, he doesn't like to discipline anybody. And this is a discipline, in my mind, of George Pickens. And he wanted to prove a point that we could win without him. So Coach T got his point in there without saying the truth to the media. So that's what's on my mind. I'll take any comments or rebuttals.
Real quick, Chip.
Jim
Go ahead and
first.
let Jim go.
We're counting.
L. Levine, the talking machine, can you pass down the cookies, please?
Now you can have one.
Go ahead, Chip. You can go now.
All right. So here's the thing, and you mentioned something about Mike Tomlin, and I was thinking about this afternoon. I spent a lot of time in the cab of my truck today driving all over God's green earth, but so. I think Mike Tomlin gets more out of players than any other coach.
I don't debate that.
Because, I'm going to give you some examples. Okay? Look at Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Under Mike Tomlin's tutelage, Antonio Brown probably became one of the best receivers in professional football. Right. Or wrong? Mm-hmm. Okay? Once he left the Steelers, he was nothing short of a train wreck. Okay? Martavis Bryant. When he was here playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers, he did some incredible things on the field. Hasn't done a single thing for any other coach since. Let me give you a more current one. How about Deontay Johnson? Deontay Johnson was an adequate enough receiver. Sure, he ran backwards, and yes, he dropped every other pass. But he
was open on every play.
But he was a solid wide receiver. So far, he's been through two teams, and in less than a year. Okay, and he's got himself suspended from the Baltimore Ravens for a team that needs wide receiver help.
Right.
So Tomlin was able to get production out of him, and he was, again, another diva. I think the same thing is true with George Pickens. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if he's injured. I don't know if he's being punished. Quite frankly, I don't care. All I know is that George Pickens helps the Steelers win football games, but I agreed with Smoke and Jim on this at the beginning of the season. I didn't think the Steelers needed to make a splash move at wide receiver.
You called it.
Because the guys that they have there are good enough to make the plays they need to be made to win football games.
Yeah.
Last week is a perfect example of it.
Yes, sir.
Because the Steelers right now have a dangerous offense, and the aspect is they can put up 40-some points, but they've got a dangerous offense because they can control the clock and they can score touchdowns.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and the defense gets a chance to rest because it's not on the field 2/3 of the game.
That helps.
And they're able to make the splash plays that the defense needs to make because everything's tilted towards the offense.
They put all the money.
And
they
then you
didn't put
got
any
poor
money
Joey
there,
Porter Jr. He's a marked man. The referees have it out for him. I haven't seen him hold anybody this year. But apparently
Hey, Chip, I'm seeing different.
He's joking.
I know he's sarcastic.
Little tongue-in-cheek. Little tongue-in-cheek.
Here's what I have to say. I haven't seen him not hold on a play.
But,
I'm serious about that. You're kidding about that.
That's true.
I haven't seen it. I've watched him every play.
And my retort to that is, how many games did that cause us to lose? Okay.
Well, my retort to that is Conrad Dobler was one of the greatest players ever that admitted he committed a foul on every play because they wouldn't call it.
All right, well,
So if somebody finally pulled a page out of his book, I salute him. And my point is, we're all, like me, I'm old school. So I don't understand dealing with divas like that. But I like the results. Like I said, how can you not be happy with the first place Steelers?
Well, see,
I don't want to get into that thing, whether you got a tear in your hamstring, whether you have a hamstring issue and all that, because to me it's not the truth. There's other things going on. That's
Well,
my
you know,
point.
and-
And you
and-
verified
and-
that with how we watch. Guess what? I like every win, whether it's ugly or not. Let me repeat it. I like every ugly win that I've seen.
You know, and that's the thing. And you know, I think we're watching a real special year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think the thing that has made the biggest difference, and you can, I'm going to give
Stephanie, this is for you. She just
I'm going to let Smoke and Jim take a victory lap on this one. Is the veteran leadership that Russell Wilson brought to that offense.
Thank you, sir.
Even last year, you had a bunch of young players in the offensive line, wide receivers. There was no one person that was going to say to them, like, look, you know, and you look what Russell Wilson has done. He has solidified that offensive unit. You've got Najee Harris without a contract for next year, playing like he's playing for a contract.
He is.
You know, and I hope the Steelers re-sign him. We'll see. You know, we'll see. And you've got a receiving core that everybody has just bashed all year. But what do? They make plays when you need them to make plays.
Yes,
You don't have anybody putting up 170, 200 yards receiving like a Jamar Chase or whatever like it. But all they have to do is keep moving the sticks and pushing the ball across the goal line.
Right. Well, I would like a little more consistency with them.
Yeah, you know what?
That's one thing I would like with it.
10-3 is as consistent as I need them to be.
Well, what did I say? How can you not be happy with 10-3?
Exactly.
Now, the next 3 games, we can debate that all you want. And I got my Eagle colors on. We will see what happens with that. Mm-hmm. And the defense, guess what? How do you complain about them? Look at the points they're keeping teams to so we can win. If they were as bad as everybody says and Joey Porter couldn't play, we'd be losing 34-20. We're not. So go Steelers. It's been quite the year. We can criticize anybody what we want, what we want to do and expect. But you got to watch with the eye test and see what they're doing. If they're winning, I'm all in. And Wizard of Oz, there's the MVP. Where would we be? You want to talk about Saquon Barkley? I agree he should be in the running for that. But what about Wizard of Oz?
Well, here's the thing I find interesting.
Take him off the team.
Kevin Stefanski is 2 times NFL Coach of the Year, correct?
Yes, he is, and deserved it.
Okay. And he has Deshaun Watson starting as quarterback, and he absolutely refuses to bench him or to criticize him. Okay, so, all right, everybody knew that the problem was with the quarterback, okay? Everybody but the head coach.
And what happened?
Wait, the kicker has been a dog with fleas, okay? Okay? And he lost them the game on Sunday.
Yeah.
And Kevin Stefanski says, I have not considered benching him yet. And everybody was talking like, yeah, he's going to be looking for a job Monday morning. Yeah. Apparently not. I guess Cleveland likes being 3-10. So that's what you do with the Coach of the Year.
And like I say, for all the complainers here about the Steelers, what if we were 3-10? What would they be saying?
Oh,
No, you can't repeat, Chip.
yeah.
All right, Chip, thank you. And let's see, we got that in there. We're going to, before we go to Chip, I need a shot of me.
Yeah, why don't we got Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's?
We're going to do that. And thank you, Stephanie Hayner.
Thank you, Steph.
Delicious.
I sent her a DM already.
Well, I'm thanking her personally. She tuned in. Delicious. Thanks for the Christmas nuts. All right, we got Fiction and Fact. We're Smoking Jim's Almanac.
All right, thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And I tell you what, Al Levine, the talking machine.
What do you have now?
Couple weeks ago, Chip Hayner went. I'm not Chip Hayner, but Harry Callis went after my credibility and been running away from me ever since. This is an article I wrote the day after the draft, and 2011 when we took Ironhead's son, Cam Hayward, and he's still playing at a high level. So I'm just going to go over that draft a little bit in the grades I gave it. Al Levine, the talking machine. Cam Hayward, an A in that draft. Marcus Gilbert, a D. Curtis Brown, I said would be a bust. He was. Cortez Allen, I said would be a bust. I said he'd be better off being a second lieutenant. He's from Citadel. Chris Carter, I said he'd be a bust. He was. Keith Williams, he left for arena football because he couldn't cut it in the NFL. And Byron Batch, remember the great running back from Texas Tech? I said he wouldn't make the team, and now he's a successful artist. And on the last paragraph of my article, I says I gave the Steeler draft a failing grade. Colbert and his Mickey Mouse scouting department Gomer piled their way through the draft. And that is published information. So there's another 100%. Last week I was 100% on the 2010 draft. Again, I'm 97% on my player evaluation.
No.
So we'll keep it going. We'll keep it going for Nick's sake.
You're stuck on certain numbers. I just wanted to correct you. If you were
it's documented.
No, if you were 100%
that's
last
100%
week,
right here.
just let me finish.
Okay.
Your time's up.
Okay.
You got 100% last week, and you got 100% this week.
That's 200%.
Guess what it means for an average?
100%.
Yeah, so your 97's gone, but this is all 14 years ago.
Well, starting next week.
What have you done lately?
Starting next week.
I'm teasing. I can read your mind.
Starting next week, and then we'll go to Chip now. It starts, everything that I said is documented on your show, starting in 2012. Wow. I had to start somewhere. Now, next week, it'll be, all you got to do is go back to 2012 folks, April, and you can pull up the show. It's on your website.
Here, this is why.
It's on the website.
This is why we're best friends. How did I know or even figure out that he would be segueing to something else? How did I do, Smoking?
Nick can't hang up on me like he do to people on 93.7 The Fan.
Well, you don't call into him. Paul Haley's watching us. Thanks for tuning in, Paul. All right, we're going to Chip Hayner in 10 seconds with trivia time.
Welcome back, everybody. That's a snickerdoodle. Welcome back, everybody. And Smoking Jim did make a statement to start the show off with, and yes, congratulations should be sent out to Dave Parker for making the Hall of Fame. There are a number of reasons why Dave Parker was not elected into the Hall of Fame up until now, and we're not going to get into those. All you need to do is page back through old copies of the Pittsburgh Press or Post-Gazette and read about the drug trials in Pittsburgh in the early
national
1980s.
News. National news has it.
And that will tell you everything
Google
that you do need to do. Need to know. And I'm not saying that Dave Parker was completely undeserving, but I do believe that Dave Parker did get the sympathy vote because of his Parkinson's disease. And it's a horrible thing to watch such a proud man. There was a 5 or 6 year period
5
where
years
Dave,
of the greatest.
Dave Parker was the best player in baseball, bar none.
First $1 million player they threw batteries at.
And the thing that I just find somewhat disturbing is that he did not come out and say that when he's inducted into Cooperstown in June that he's going to be wearing a Pirates hat.
They didn't.
He has not said. He has. They've left that to be determined. And I'm a little bit offended by that. He made the greatest moments that he ever had in a baseball field were in Pirates uniforms.
What hat would he wear?
Well, any one of a half a dozen that he played for. He played for the A's. He played Toronto. He played for Minnesota. played for the
He's
Reds.
from Cincinnati too.
Right, and I can tell you some stories in regards to him and Eric Davis when they played together.
I heard that story.
Yeah,
I didn't.
well, that will be shared off the air.
Thanks, Chip.
But I just think that there is a Pittsburgh Pirate, former Pittsburgh Pirate, who played 17 or 18 years in the major leagues, the same as Dave Parker, that is a much more deserving candidate. He played 9 years in a Pirates uniform. And that is the gentleman that Jim mentioned earlier,
Disrespectfully.
Al Oliver. And Al Oliver, with the exception of the number of home runs that he had better statistics than Dave Parker across the board. Al Oliver was a career 300 batting average. His career batting average was 303. Dave Parker's was 290. Al Oliver had 2,743 hits. Dave Parker had 2,712. Al Oliver, over the course of his career, had 219 home runs. And Dave Parker had 339 home runs. For RBIs, Al Oliver had 1,326. Dave Parker had 1,493. So if
more homers, kind of
if Dave Parker's statistics warrant him being elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame, Al Oliver deserves to be there every single day of the week.
Wow.
Without any question, no arguments. So that's just my humble opinion. Go right ahead.
Who was Player of the Year?
As a matter of fact, Dave Parker won National League MVP in 1978.
Yeah.
Did Al ever do it? That's a big difference. That's a big difference.
Yeah, but Al also didn't get run out of town because he was snorting the right field line.
And left field. Hey, one after the fact, after the alleged cocaine issues and stuff like that, I would go to Pirate games, and there'd be 800 to 1,500 people there. It was some of the greatest times being in a stadium, hearing the players talk and coaches give them orders. So I appreciated that, and it was terrible it happened. But I can remember going to dozens of games, and we'd sit on the third base side, a row or two up, and I remember the Mets there, and one of their coaches go, "Hey, kids, you want a ball?" Meanwhile, I'm married, threw a ball to me.
Wow.
And I'm not going to name this player on the air, but I will. I'll tell you who he was after the
Good.
after the show. I know of Major League Baseball players in that time frame that were all caught up into the drug that refused to slide feet first because he was afraid of breaking the vial in his back pocket.
Wow, I can't wait to hear that.
He did not play for the Pirates, though.
Well, I've talked about it off air, and I'll talk about it again. A Pirate with a famous dad that I saw in an after-hours club, so I can talk about that.
I saw him in the same club. I used to know the owner and his mom very well.
Yes. All right. We got a small world there. Okay, let's go. On Location. Hope you're on YouTube and you're watching there. We appreciate you. On Location, 10 seconds. On Location. Hope you're on YouTube and you're watching there. We appreciate you. On Location, 10 seconds. All right, no On Location shows. We're looking at some in the future. You know, we got boxing and other events coming up throughout the year, but we're ending this year quietly. Had a big year with MMA event I had, and a concert, and Golden Gloves fights, and everything like that. So we're looking forward to some other things like that again. And we're going to be off on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. We're not going to do Pittsburgh Sportsline show. So we're going to have a little hiatus, the longest hiatus we've ever had. So we'll do one more show next week. And Chip, Michael Rohde, and Smokin' Jim will be there. And he's going to have more proof since 2012 when he joined the show. It's not my birthday, but October 11th, 2011. And we only met and I think it might have been August or September of 2011.
Yes, sir.
Some guy, we can't mention his name, but he wasn't a very good guy, but he brought us together, so I wanted to reminisce about that. And then we got a couple other things to talk about, like even the Penguins. Like, look at the turnaround they had since they got beat by Utah. And look what's going on there. Smoking Jim, I know you don't have thoughts except about Ovechkin. Chip, what do you think about the Penguins with Coach Sully turning it around right now? I'm impressed by that.
I am somewhat impressed, but before I decide to start hitching my wagon to that train, is it sustainable? Because the kind of hockey they were playing,
you stole the words out of my mouth.
The kind of hockey they were playing at the beginning of the year was just absolutely atrocious, and
the goaltending
that didn't go away. The same people that were playing that badly, hey, and I'm happy that the Penguins are winning games. I still don't think that they're a playoff caliber hockey team. And if they do make the playoffs, and that's a big if, they're going to get bounced in the first round.
Well, I'm thinking like the Steeler offense, I would like to see them consistent with running and catching. But the Penguins, I don't know if they can have consistent defense or goaltending, let alone offense.
Yeah, well, in the offense, for all the offensive firepower that we have, it's not showing up on the score sheet.
No.
But what is showing up on the score sheet is their defensive failures. And, they've got to tighten it up. They just play too sloppy of hockey. I mean, who did they play? And I know they won the game, but they gave up so many 2-on-1s. You just can't do that. Because it's going to bite you. You're going to lose games because of that.
No, I'm with you on it. Just wanted to bring it up. And your boy Ovechkin's still hurt, I think.
I know he got 16 goals this year. He's closing in on Gretzky.
Yeah, but then he got hurt. He's not playing.
If you're not playing, you ain't putting any pucks in the net.
You can't put a puck in the net without being on the ice. Chief I'm going to call it a rhetorical question. Who would ever be the Pirate golden at bat? In this day and age, I can't really.
You know what, Chief? That's a ridiculous question to ask because it should never happen. It should never get to that.
It's not going to happen.
There are so many different reasons why that makes absolutely no sense, and I could take up the whole hour going item by item.
Hey, Chip, I'll go with one of your reasons. It's the dumbest idea I ever heard in baseball.
Well, here's okay. So you have the golden at bat. So the guy says, okay, I want to put Aaron Judge for my golden at bat. Okay, there's 2 outs, bottom of the ninth.
Yeah.
Okay, he walks. All right, so now he's on first base, and he's the next guy. He was a guy in the on deck circle. So what's he do now? Go from first to now. You have to take him out of to be the next guy at bat, to take his at bat, and then so does that mean you have to put in a pinch runner? So who has to come out of the game? There's not a well thought out plan.
Exactly. Glad we covered that. Smoking Jim, anything you want to? I left this time at the end for you.
Oh, thanks.
Because I know you've scripted a lot of stuff you like to talk in about 2 minutes.
I just think since we're going to be off for 2 weeks, maybe we should all get together as a family and watch the Pitt Toledo game. When is it, Jim?
How about watching Penn State lose to SMU?
They're not going to lose. They're not going to lose.
There's a problem. Penn State's playing a ranked team.
You're talking about Frankie being a failure against.
Was Maryland ranked when he ran the score up on them?
Oh,
ranked in the bottom.
No, well, you know what? As much as I think that James Franklin is a complete tool, okay, he actually said something after that game that made sense. And here's what he said, and I'll paraphrase. Mm-hmm. He said, "Listen, my 3s and 4s were in, and my 3s and 4s wanted a chance to play football. Your 1s and 2s were still in, and you were trying to score points. My 3s and 4s are trying to score points. If you don't want them to score points, stop them. But in the world that college football exists in now, the amount of points you score, point differential, all of that matters as to where your
where you're placed in the
where you're
conference.
placed.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is that I find with the college playoff, okay, you got the 12 teams, but where the teams are ranked in the college playoffs has absolutely nothing to do with they're ranked in the top 25.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes, because shouldn't
Yeah.
those things be the same?
They should.
Hold it.
You know
Why
what I
did
mean?
that change?
You know,
When you had
because
4 teams, it didn't change.
okay, it's okay. Ohio State lost; they were ranked number 2. Penn State was number 3. Number 1 won. So you would think that Penn State would be ranked number 2, but they're ranked number 6 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I agree with you, Chip, because I shared a story with Al Levine, the talking machine. My sophomore year, we only had 5 sophomores on the varsity team. Of course, my senior year, we only had 1 sophomore on the team. And I remember getting put in the game, late in the game, and I wanted to run the ball so bad, and the quarterback was taking a knee, and I tried to rip the ball out of his hand before he took a knee so I could run for a touchdown. Not only did I have to do 100-yard bear crawls on Monday, I was suspended for the next game. I couldn't dress. So, I mean, I know that feeling of having to go into the game and they're taking a knee or they're,
Well, and they want to solidify their position on the team for next year.
Yeah.
Because the seniors are going to graduate, or the
Exactly.
people that are going to leave early go to the NFL.
Right.
That means that I want to be
that
I want
guy.
the coaches to see me do it when in the stadiums.
Yeah.
As your good friend Mike Tomlin always says, when the
right.
bright lights are on.
Hey, Chip, here's one vote for you. John Donatelli. In the 70s, I'd take Al Oliver.
There you go.
And then Chiefs ending up, we're almost last minute and a half. Chiefs on fire. Steelers need to hire a psychiatrist.
They have one. His name's Mike Tomlin.
Give me a score for the game, Steelers or Philly.
Phillies 35-17.
I'm going to make a bold prediction. Jalen Hurts is going to get knocked out in the first quarter, and Kenny Pickett's going to lay an egg, and the Steelers are going to win 20-17.
No, we lose this game. That's what my belief is.
I think the difference, evenly matched team difference is Cooper DeJean, Philadelphia 45, Steelers 37.
Okay.
There, we got it in. Wow, we're under a minute. Anything else you want to put on? Smoking Jim, you haven't said much crazy stuff because we limited you. What do you want to add in here?
And that golden rule comes from my favorite team, the Savannah Bananas.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I just can't even speak to the level of stupidity the golden at bat
I agree
exhibits.
with that.
Hey, Michael Rohde signed it in. 30 seconds to go. Steelers season starts Sunday.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
I predicted an L.
Tell him that Steelers season starts Sunday and it's 11 days long.
L, baby. I got an L on that one.
Want to
I
wear
got
the hat?
I
Want to
got
wear the hat?
I got a
I
W.
just had my hair
Alan,
done
I got
by-
a W.
Hey, my hair was done by Emilio at Azazu today. Put some special stuff in the hair and everything.
Yeah, I was going to say,
So
you
I
look
can
kind of
look good.
aerodynamic.
I am. It's close. Please stay Joey strong.